Hi, I'm Ethan from Asheville Vehicle Outfitters, and this is my 1997 LX 450. Up front, I've got a ARB bumper with a set of white LP6s and yellow LP6s, which is way overkill. I probably just need one of them, but I thought it looked cool, so I got a good deal on it and went ahead and did it. As we move back, I've got a set of Delta radius arms, Dobinson suspension up front and in the rear. It's kind of a Frankenstein kit with their 6-inch lift dampers, but then a dual rate spring in the rear and a progressive rate in the front, so it rides a little lower. I've got the Safari snorkel up top. We've got an alu cab tent, and underneath of it I've got a table slide from them, which is super convenient. The table just comes out and pop the legs out. You got somewhere to cook or just eat or fix your car. As we move towards the back, I've got a 4x4 Labs rear bumper with some MaxTrax mounts from AJ over at GP Factor. And inside I've got Dometic fridge, ARB drawers, and then a bunch of little Blue Ridge Overland gear bags. Keep all my stuff nice and organized. All of my dual battery and everything's running off a Red Arc Manager 30, which is mounted up here and then inside the kick panel here. We've got an S-Pod, runs the compressor and everything. There's a tank right here that's the gauge for it, and the tank's mounted up underneath. On the side, I've got a set of Emu wings, which are super convenient. You just reach in, grab whatever you need out, close them back up. I haven't had really any issues out of these. They don't leak. They close good every time. They're pretty awesome. So up here's where it gets a little more interesting. I've got a 14-inch digital dash from Holley, because this truck, I've got a 6-liter LS in it. It's all running off of a touchscreen dash here, which shows me pretty much everything I need to know. I can data record and stuff like that for tuning, change screens. I can upload different tunes for 4Low, you know, all sorts of stuff. S-Pod runs everything up here as well. And then we come around under the hood. So up under here, we've got the 6-liter LS with a bunch of MSD goodies. Instead of using the factory brakes and power steering and stuff, we switched to a GM Hydro Boost, which has been awesome. The brakes actually work now on this thing. If you've got a Land Cruiser, you know they don't stop at all. And then over there's, I've got the S-Pod mounted on my dual battery. These are just overseas diesel dual battery trays. Then I've run everything back to the back to run the Manager 30. It's a pretty simple setup. It works really good for me. The factory motor started to get a little sad after 300,000 miles. It was overheating and it just had like no power. So I decided it was time to do something about it, and we put an LS in it. So it all started out, I bought a Tacoma, and I love taking that thing to Windrock and wheeling it, but I started to want to do harder stuff, and the Tacoma wouldn't keep up with what I wanted to do. So I'd seen online that the 80 series were solid axle front end Toyotas, you know, good motor, long lasting, pretty capable. So I ended up picking one up for cheap. I got this car for like $4,300, semi-running. It had like some coolant leaks and some other stuff going on. So I fixed that. And then I was originally just gonna put like sliders and suspension on it and just wheel it, and then use the Tacoma for the more overlandy stuff. But this quickly got out of hand. And now it's what you see here. I don't really do a ton of overland trips. I mostly just don't want to pull a trailer to pull my rig around. So I threw the roof tent on it, and I have done some, like we recently did the Kentucky Backcountry Byway, and stuff like that. And then I love coming to events like this. So it is nice to have the tent and everything, but it's mostly, I built it up to go wheeling, and it does that awesome. I definitely recommend doing an LS swap on these things. Honestly, this sounds like I'm lying to you, but it wasn't that hard to do. The motor with the right adapters and transmission is the same length as the factory motor and transmission. I'm using a factory transfer case, so I didn't have to change anything after the transfer case. Factory drive shafts, factory axles. It just works for the most part. Mark Schwarber sells a great kit for the engine mounts and the transfer case adapter, and you just slap it on there and massage the firewall a little bit with a hammer, and your motor's in the car. The LS, now that I've got it, you know, swapped, it's making about 400 crank. I don't know what it makes wheel. I don't know anyone with a 4-wheel dyno to test it, but it's got enough power and 4Low to break all 4 wheels loose on a dirt road, which is pretty fun. Hope you guys enjoyed my walk around in my truck. If you want to see more of it, check out my Instagram, stock_Land Cruiser. And if you want to see more of what we do at Asheville Vehicle Outfitters, you can follow us at Asheville Vehicle Outfitters.